Welcome to Miami-Dade College in Focus. I'm Amanda Bazil. The Miami Culinary Institute is always cooking up amazing opportunities for its students, from cooking competitions to master classes with world-famous chefs. And 2 students just landed their dream apprenticeship, thanks to their time here. We have more coming up next.
Hi, I'm Gabrielle Hardy. Films tell stories, and one student at the School of Entertainment and Design Technology wants to use film to tell the often untold stories of people making a difference. We have more next.
I'm Carla Nunez. Miami-Dade College offers a number of bachelor's degrees in high-demand job fields, and now they're expanding 4 of those degrees to be offered online. Stay with us to learn more.
And I'm Isabel Loggins. Miami may be a relatively young city, but it's a city full of history. And MDC's very own Wolfson Archives wants to share that history with you. Stay tuned to find out more because MDC In Focus starts right now.
For students at the Miami Culinary Institute, learning the craft of cooking is only part of the world-class education that they receive. Students also learn from world-renowned chefs in master classes, compete in cooking competitions, and prepare meals for campus and community events. In August, 10 MCI students had the unique opportunity of working with some of the best chefs in the world, and for 2 of those students, the opportunity will continue in the spring. The group of MCI students worked for 10 days with the famed Roca brothers and their staff, preparing meals for a 2-day event for 200 guests aboard the Seafair Miami, a luxury yacht on Biscayne Bay. The Roca brothers restaurant, El Celler de Can Roca, once again landed at #1 on Restaurant Magazine's World's 50 Best Restaurants list this year.
It was once in a lifetime, I can guarantee that. The stuff that we learned in 10 days was incredible.
The habits that our students picked up, the 10 students that picked up during this time, they're starting to, you can see they're starting to pass that on to the other students that weren't able to do that event. And it's trickling down to even the students that have just started this week.
From that group of 10, 2 stood out. Marcelo Sardina and Sachi Stats were selected to work with the Roca brothers once again, this time in a semester-long apprenticeship that starts in January.
I'm still in shock. I can't get over it. But at that moment, I couldn't even move. But the director of the school was like, "Come on, you have to go shake their hand." And I was like,
And when they really said my name and Sashi's name, my jaw just kind of dropped. You know, I got a tear out of my eye. It was something special. It kind of still hasn't even kicked in yet. I guess it will kind of kick in when I go over there. We'll see what happens.
The 4-month culinary internship will take the students to Girona, Spain, where they will work side by side with the Roca brothers, head chef Joan, sommelier Joseph, and pastry chef Jordi Roca.
The Roca brothers, like you were saying, have the #1 restaurant in the world. We do have great restaurants in South Florida, but they're on a completely different level. Small example is they have a dessert that takes 2.5 days to prepare. Imagine doing something for 2.5 days to serve to someone that they're going to eat in 5 minutes. The only real comparison I can make is for the students and the experience they're going to get from this is if like a beginning basketball player got 4 to 6 months to train with Michael Jordan just one-on-one. That's the perfect example I can make because that's the comparison level of what they're going to be in.
The internship is sponsored by BBVA as part of its 3-year partnership with El Celler de Can Roca and includes all travel and lodging costs. Sachi and Marcelo will receive both hands-on and theoretical learning, an invaluable experience for any culinary student. And yet, the world-famous restaurant has other perks.
Many who have apprenticed or worked for the Rocas have gone on to launch world-class restaurants of their own. But these eager culinary students are most excited about one thing: learning as much as they can.
I think that just in those 10 days I learned so much, so I can only imagine what I'll learn in 4 months.
I'm hoping that I learn, because that's the most important thing when it comes to culinary. You think you know it all, but you don't. And the older you get, the more you learn. Even when you're 60 years old, you still don't know it all. You just keep learning along the way.
This once-in-a-lifetime experience is just one example of the incredible opportunities available to students at the Miami Culinary Institute, and Sachi and Marcelo say that they are thankful for their time at MCI.
The facility is brand new. Our teachers are amazing. Chef McCurry is my mentor. I owe everything to him. He really pushes me and does everything to help and benefit his students, and I don't know if I could say that about any other school. We are like a family here.
We've got a great staff here, great chefs, teaching you from making stock to molecular gastronomy. And the opportunities that this school has given us. I've worked with Giancarlo Stanton. I've worked with Jose Fernandez from the Miami Marlins. I've seen #1 chefs in the world. I've worked with La Feria de San Miguel. I have worked with the #1 restaurant in the world, and now I have the opportunity to work there. And, you know, there's not many places in the world that you get this opportunity.
Incredible opportunities and a top-notch culinary education are to be expected here at the Miami Culinary Institute, a combination for a recipe of culinary success. To learn more about their program, please visit them online. For MDC In Focus, I'm Amanda Bazil.
Hi, I'm Isabel Loggins. Florida's history is an exciting one, and one that is documented at the Lynn and Lewis Wolfson II Florida Moving Image Archives here at Wolfson campus. We recently took you into the archives and invited you to their community events, a story that is now backed by popular demand here at MDC In Focus. So please enjoy, once again, Rewind, exploring Florida's history through moving images. In the late 1800s, small homesteading communities were rising along Biscayne Bay. Dade County consisted of the vast area between Indian Key and the Jupiter Inlet and contained less than 1,000 persons in 1890. Over the next few years, this area would experience rapid growth as one of America's last frontiers. As the 1800s came to a close, several influential pioneers would settle in the area. Julia Tuttle, along with William and Mary Brickell, who later convinced billionaire Henry M. Flagler to extend his railroad south along Florida's east coast, laying the foundations for a city on both sides of the Miami River. And with that, the city of Miami sprung up as if overnight, earning the town its nickname, the Magic City. Over the next century, the fledgling town would grow from a little more than 400 citizens in 1896 to more than 400,000 today. In that time, Miami has established itself as a major center and leader in finance, commerce, culture, and international trade. Miami is a tropical paradise and a business leader all in one. A great feat for a city that only recently celebrated 100 years. So it may surprise some to know that Miami has one of the most eventful histories of all young American cities. You can find that history here at MDC's Wolfson campus. Founded in 1984, the Lynn and Lewis Wolfson II Florida Moving Image Archives houses over 35,000 hours of videotape and 23 million feet of film. The Wolfson Archives is an official moving image repository and archives of the state of Florida, and is one of the largest institutions of its kind in the United States.
The collection starts with historical films, home movies from the 1910s, and I think the earliest film that we have is actually the development of Miami Beach. We also have footage from Broward County, from Central Florida, from Cuba, so it's not just Florida or even Miami-centric. We are an archive that covers the entire region.
Lynn Wolfson helped found the Moving Image Archives along with Ralph Rennick and historian Arva Moore Parks. Named in honor of Lynn and Louis Wolfson II, the archives was created under the joint sponsorship of the Miami-Dade Public Library System, Miami-Dade College, and the University of Miami.
And we were founded by Ralph Rennick, who was the first newscaster in Florida. And his goal was to preserve all of the film footage that was part of his early career.
The Wolfson Archives can now be found in its purpose-built facility on the Wolfson campus in downtown Miami. The Wolfson Archives is devoted to preserving film and video that records the history and culture of Florida. Footage from the collections have been used in feature films and documentaries, including The Cocaine Cowboys, The U, and Ken Burns' National Parks. But this footage is also available for public viewing.
So we've been very fortunate in working with Miami-Dade County and the Division of Cultural Affairs to receive a grant for cultural programming. We use the grant monies from Miami-Dade County to put on a number of different events and series of presentations of the material from the archives, because the county agrees with us that it's important to share this, and it actually makes Miami a better place to live when we know about the history of our community.
Rewind is a program of informal, twice-weekly public screenings. The screenings are typically 15 to 30 minutes in length and are free and open to the public.
They start at noon and they go till 1:30 in the afternoon. And our curator, Kevin Nguyen, takes material from the collection, builds a theme around the material, and actually plays it during that hour. People who work downtown and also students at the Wolfson campus, and anybody actually can come, bring your lunch, and sit down and watch some of our video and film history.
Our Rewind screenings date back probably 20 years, maybe even longer. We used to do them when we were housed in the library in downtown Miami, and now we do them in our new home on Wolfson campus. And the idea has always been just to open up the collection to people so they can see it. But when you've got moving images, you know, lots of people can relate to that, and lots of people can see that, and they can see where we were, where we've come. We have one sequence from 1984. Cell phones were about 6 months old in Miami. It was in 1984. And the reporter says,
"Mobile telephones are in your future. If you don't have one now, you probably will have one in a decade," say the phone makers.
Later on in the story, he demonstrates one of these new really mobile phones, which is a phone built into a briefcase with an antenna sticking out of the briefcase. So to use your mobile phone, you dial it while it's attached to the briefcase, pull it out, put the antenna up, and he's walking down the street with the antenna out in the briefcase, and that's a mobile phone 30 years ago. And that, you know, you get a bunch of people in a room who don't understand what you're talking about, all this, and then they see that and it's like, okay.
In the spring, the Rewind series included vintage video of South Florida women breaking barriers and changing their place in society in balancing acts. South Florida women across 4 decades. The historic film and video screened in March as a part of Women's History Month.
We just did a collection of clips that show kind of like the role and image of women developing from the 1950s, where they're primarily fashion models and Orange Bowl queens, to the 1980s, where they're more involved in society in general, and they're doing bodybuilding, and it's like, you know, it's changing a lot. So that's something you can show in this collection, how these things change.
The spring Rewind screenings also included Building Miami, featuring video of South Florida landmarks, many long gone, captured by unique TV news footage and vintage home movies. Presented during Dade Heritage Days, Building Miami is the second collaboration between the Wolfson Archives and the Dade Heritage Trust.
In addition to Rewind, we have special screenings. We try to have those in the evening so it reaches a different audience. We try to have those in different places sometimes when we can, so we can go out to an audience instead of always having our audience come to us. And those will cover different subjects, and sometimes they go into more depth because it'll be a little more concentrated than a Rewind screening, and it'll be longer. For instance, we're doing a presentation, just kind of a light talk with clips, called The Fontainebleau on Film. And that's about the Fontainebleau Hotel. But what it's really about is the way people who are filmmakers use the Fontainebleau as a location and put it in films in the 50s and 60s, and what the Fontainebleau kind of means.
Rewind screenings take place throughout the year. But if that's not enough of Florida's history for you, the Wolfson Archives also regularly updates their social media and YouTube sites with photos and clips. And you can learn even more about South Florida during their MDC TV program, Rewind.
A great reason to come to the Wolfson Archives and look at our material is not really to learn something. It's not to come here and get a lesson in history. One of the amazing things about our collection is that film and television is a particularly dynamic way of preserving this history and showing people it moves and it walks and it talks, and it kind of captures not only the way things looked, but the way people acted and the way people thought and the things people said. So that's a very dynamic way of recording history.
It's a window into our history, and it enables us to know where we were, where we are, and where we're going. Miami sometimes gets a bad rap of being a city without any kind of history. And my argument is our history goes back at least 2,000 years, if not more. When they take down one of these buildings, the old buildings downtown, sometimes they find old sites where there was an Indian settlement, especially around the mouth of the Miami River. We don't go around tearing buildings down to discover history ourselves, but what we do is we make available through the film footage a glimpse of what might have been in a particular place 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. So that enables people to travel in time and to get a sense of what the city was like, what the journey was to get to the point where we are now.
So that's the excitement of putting this out to people, because to so many people it's completely alien. To a lot of people it's familiar. We did a program where we showed a show from WTVJ called The Plight of Pepito. It was part of their news series, and it was from 1961. It was about the incoming Cuban exiles, but they picked this little boy to represent the Cuban exiles, because he's a cute 6-year-old boy with big sad eyes, and he goes and he has to get a vaccination when he's going through. The gentleman who played Pepito when he was 6 years old showed up at the archives one day and said, "Hi, you have a show called Plight of Pepito?" "Yes." "Well, I'm Pepito." And he's still around. So we brought him in. But it's the story of people coming here, going through the processing center, and we had people in the audience who did that. We had so many times when we'll be showing material and there are people whose parents did that, whether it be that, whether it be something else. And the reaction that people get is terrific. It's visceral. Sometimes it will provoke memories, and you'll hear incredible stories from people that might not have shown up on television or newspapers or somewhere else because it's their personal stories and everybody didn't get time with a reporter or something like that. So not only is it an interesting record, an amazing record of the history as it was recorded then, but it prompts sometimes new history, pieces of history that you weren't aware of, that come to people, that occur to people because they see, I remember I used to go roller skating over there. I used to swim at that pool all the time. So that's an amazing facet of this collection.
The sun has always shone on this magic city. We're 1 million today. The planners predict we'll be 2.5 million by 1985, just a few chapters away in Miami's history book. As we hit 1 million and look around us and still think of what's to come, we can say with honesty, isn't it great to live in Miami? Good night.
Florida's history and culture are in safe hands here at Wolfson Archives. So don't miss the next screening for your chance to view some of Florida's most incredible history right here in Miami. For MDC In Focus, I'm Isabel Loggins.
Welcome to MDC in a Flash, where we give you the latest in MDC news. This October, the Miami International Film Festival's fall event returned to Miami cinemas. GEMS, a dazzling 4-day film festival. El Clan, the Argentina-Spain co-production about the notorious and well-to-do Puccio family, who kidnapped and murdered several of their neighbors in 1980s Buenos Aires, won the coveted Audience Award. At the festival's closing night, MDC President Dr. Eduardo J. Padron presented recently retired Sábado Gigante media icon Don Francisco with the Precious Gem Award for for his significant contributions to the story and progress in 2010 of the fate of the trapped Copiapó miners, influences that are immortalized in Patricia Regent's film The 33. Miami-Dade College celebrated the 32nd edition of the Miami Book Fair this fall. The nation's finest and largest literary gathering treated book lovers to 8 days of cultural and educational activities, including the beloved Evenings With series, the Ibero-American Authors Program, and literacy and learning activities for children and teens. In partnership with MDC's Miami Culinary Institute, The Kitchen offered demos and panels for food enthusiasts, and fairgoers enjoyed hundreds of exhibitors from around the world in a festive atmosphere during the acclaimed street fair. This year's book fair was a complete success, and we hope to see you again next year. In other news, Miami-Dade College signed an agreement with the National Immigration Forum, the Community College Consortium for Immigrant Education, and the Walmart Foundation to design an innovative new program to increase English language skills among retail workers, for whom English is a second language. The first of its kind, the program highlights MDC's promise to offer real and innovative solutions to address our nation's workforce challenges. And congratulations to MDC's Professor Yusnier Vieira, who is also known as the Human Calendar. On October 31st, he once again broke the Guinness World Record for calendar calculations. That's been MDC in a Flash, but don't go anywhere because MDC in Focus will be right back.
Carlos Cuervo, a student at Miami-Dade College's School of Entertainment and Design Technology, knows that at the heart of any good film is a great story. His most recent project tells the story of Reforma 21, a group assisting members of the Miami community who are in the most need. The film, Without Walls, caught the attention of judges and audience alike, winning the grand prize in the 2015 Faith Counts film competition, $20,000.
I was very proud. He was in my class during the summer when he submitted to the competition, and when he told me that he had won, I understood how much work it took for him to get it to a win, and I appreciated that. I thought that it makes us all very proud.
Filmed in one day, Without Walls travels to downtown Miami with Reforma during a monthly visit to feed and spend time with the homeless. He pitched the idea to Paula Montoya, the director of Reforma, a few days before filming.
And I'm like, yeah, because this is a project about homelessness and how you work with the homeless. And she's like, what? She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, oh no, what do you mean? We don't call them homeless, she said, we call them friends. I'm like, wow.
The story clearly resonated with viewers, earning 4,000 votes in an online competition. The winner of the Audience Choice Award was set to win $10,000, but the day the winner was announced, Without Walls came in at second place.
And I was so confident that we were winning. I was second place. And I told my wife, let's go to a burger place and just with the kids and just have some time off after all this work. That same day I was contacted by the organizers of the contest. And they told me that the reason why I didn't win the votes is because I won the judges award, $20,000, and they couldn't award the $30,000 full prize to a single competitor.
Cuervo was flown to Philadelphia to accept the grand prize at the Religion Newswriters Association conference. When he returned, he decided to give 10% of his winnings to Reforma.
So if we are communicating a message and we have the means, it just makes sense for me to be able to give back to what they're doing. And at the end, I'm giving back to a community that was very generous and very embracing for me and my project.
He also decided to go back out with Reforma, this time with his 3-year-old son, Andres Lucas.
And I grew up with my dad working very hard to help people in the streets. What I did with Andres Lucas, my dad did with me when I was little. He took me to the streets and he showed me how people in the streets live. And that stood with me for all my life. And that sensibility is still there, and that's what I want to do it with my son.
Cuervo has already begun work on his next film, his capstone project at SEDT. The film will address the issues of sex trafficking in Miami using a narrative story to bring awareness in the same way his documentaries highlight important topics.
And documentary style focuses a lot on the rawness of the story. And I think that's why I'm driven, because I'm driven to story and because I'm driven to stories that can make a change in society.
Through his associate and bachelor's degrees, SEDT offers hands-on experience in producing, filming, editing, and showcasing films. Cuervo says he's thankful not only for the quality education, but for the community of filmmakers he met here, which he likens to a family. For MDC In Focus, I'm Gabrielle Hardy.
While a college degree is an important step in opening the doors to a better future, not everyone has the means to attend their local college in person. Miami-Dade College believes in the power of opportunity, and in 1999 launched the virtual college as a way to provide online credit courses for students. The college expanded over the years to include several certificate and degree options as a part of its ongoing mission to make higher education a reality for as many individuals as possible. To continue to meet this need, MDC's award-winning virtual college will be adding 4 bachelor's degrees for the spring of 2016. Students interested in online baccalaureate degrees will be able to choose between the Bachelor of Applied Science in Supply Chain Management, the Bachelor of Applied Science in Supervision and Management, the Bachelor of Applied Science in Public Safety Management, and the Bachelor of Science in Information Systems Technology. These 4 degrees expand the offerings of the existing face-to-face programs at MDC, joining the online Bachelor of Science in Nursing for a total of 5 online baccalaureate degree offerings.
Generally, we know that in the state of Florida, up to 2 million Floridians have some college but have yet to complete a degree. And one of the things we're trying to do is allow those folks to have an opportunity to complete a bachelor's program fully online without quitting their jobs or relocating. And so we're really cognizant of trying to meet a new demand and trying to advance these folks in a workplace.
These online degree programs were selected in part because of the demand for qualified employees in each field locally and nationally, preparing students for job placement upon graduation.
And so affordable and accessible quality education is at the core of the institution. We wanted to take that concept and expand it even further. And so offering a full bachelor program online does both things. It first expands the accessibility and flexibility for our existing students, but most importantly, it also offers our quality education to students that otherwise do not live in the immediate area.
It's important to make it available online because much of the students that are coming back to college are not your traditional students, are students that are in the profession right now. And it makes it more difficult for them to actually achieve the dream of getting an education if they have to go to a specific class because their schedules are not as flexible. For law enforcement, for example, they work 24 hours, 7 days a week, so it makes it more difficult for them to go to school, get their degree. With an online program, they can manage their work and manage their school time equally.
In addition to meeting the needs of distance learners, the virtual college responded to the needs of MDC's currently enrolled students. These degrees will offer the option to mix and match, allowing students to combine face-to-face courses with online courses, making the degree path even more flexible.
The virtual college adds another layer of added value to our program. First of all, if you take a look at our students today, most of them are working professionals. Some of them even veterans or active duty military. And the work-life school balance is a tough thing to do. And so adding the classes in a virtual college really allows them to schedule their classes, when they take them, how they take them.
This is going to offer them the opportunity, should they have changes in their schedule, to take advantage of our degree programming. And given that Miami-Dade College is by far one of the most affordable institutions locally, this really is a tremendous opportunity.
With flexible course offerings, including accelerated degree options, these online programs are opening the doors for countless students, bringing the completion of a 4-year degree within reach. Whether the student decides to pursue the degree fully online or through a combination of on-campus and online instruction.
The opportunity is going to be amazing. It's just another way for folks to be able to obtain a degree that previously they were never able to do before.
Students interested in one of these online bachelor's degrees should visit the Virtual College's website for more information. The Virtual College also offers several associate's degrees and college credit certificates, making an affordable, quality education truly accessible to all. For MDC In Focus, I'm Carla Nunez.